Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel and to another video. Now, throughout the month of October, I have participated in a drawing challenge known as Rockpoolaroid. This challenge was organised by a fellow YouTuber known as Marinemumbles, and she is a marine biologist whose channel focuses on scientific art and showcasing amazing UK marine life, and I will leave a link to her channel in the description down below. Now, the premise of this challenge is that each day you were given a prompt, and the prompts consisted of loads of different sea creatures. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you all of my drawings I have done throughout this challenge. So I do hope you're going to enjoy this video, and if you do, please drop a like down below and remember to subscribe so that you don't miss a future video of mine. So yeah, let's just get into the drawings. But just before we get into the drawings, I just want to quickly mention that I'm by no means an artist. So to some of you guys, these drawings won't seem very good, but honestly, this is one of the main reasons I wanted to participate in this challenge. I want to try and improve my drawing skills, because in fact, having drawing and sketching skills is pretty handy to have as a marine biologist. Okay, so here is the sketchbook that has all of the drawings that I have drawn for this challenge. But before we get into the sketchbook, some of you may be interested on what I actually used for the drawings. So for the main sketching, I used these Crawford and Black sketching pencils, and for the colour, I used these Staedtler ones. These are really good, best ones I've used. So yeah, there we go. Let's just get into the drawings. Okay, so here we are with the first drawing of the challenge. So the prompt for day one was a crab. So I drew one of the easiest crab species to find while rock pooling, an edible crab. I'm pretty happy with how this one came out. The colours are pretty accurate, and the shading is pretty nice around like the claw areas and stuff. And you can see what it is. So yeah, there's day one. Also, just for a side note, I obviously haven't found every creature on the prompt list. So I wanted to make sure that all of my drawings of creatures that I've found in the rock pools this year where possible. But here we go, day two. So for day two, the prompt was a flatfish. Now, as I just said, I wanted to try and keep the drawings to things that I have found in rock pools. I have not found a flatfish like this. I have found a top knot. I don't know why I didn't draw one, to be honest, because that is a flatfish. But anyway, here is the drawing for day two. Probably one I would have done again. As you can see, like, you can see what it is, which is good, but like, I'm not happy with the head area. That could have been done a bit better. But yeah, I sort of tried to get the sandy texture on his body, as they like to burrow in the sand and they're very camouflage. But yeah, overall, fairly happy with it. Probably would have done it again. But yeah, there's day two. So moving on to day three now, and the prompt was a red seaweed. Now, one species in particular stood out to me, and that happened to be Irish moss. Now, I found this species a few times while rock pooling in and around the rock pools. You tend to get it down here in the south of Devon and Cornwall. But yeah, it's another good drawing. You can see what it is. Could have maybe added a bit more detail, but with seaweed, it's easy to see what it is, if you know what I mean. So yeah, there's day three. Day four now, and the prompt was plankton, and I drew a copepod. This really stood out to me, as back in my first year of university, in one of like the first few weeks, I remember going out on a boat and doing some plankton sampling, and this happened to be one of the species we managed to collect in the trawl. So I thought it would be best to draw it. I know what it looks like. Kind of easy to draw, not so much detail that you can add with a little bit of plankton, because obviously that picture would have been magnified. Obviously it's tiny, you can't normally see it. But yeah, overall a pretty good drawing, and yeah, there's day four. For day five, the prompt was a sea snail, and I decided to draw a common periwinkle, a very easy to find species out on the shore, one I've come across many times. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with this drawing. I'd say it's one of the better ones in this book. Quite a bit of detail added. Again, could have added more potentially, but overall really happy with it, and you can see what it is. I was debating whether to draw a top shell, because obviously for university I did a I did an experiment on them, which is in a video that you can find on my channel. But yeah, in the end decided to go with a periwinkle, and I'm happy with how it came out. So yeah. Day 6 now, and the prompt was sponge, so I drew a couple of patches of breadcrumb sponge. Again, another species that I have encountered a few times while rock pooling this year. Very common along Dawlish Warren, I find. Nearly find it every time I go. And that's what I've tried to replicate in this drawing, sort of the browny orangey sandstone that we get down here, and the sponge just living on the rock there. Again, probably one I'd do again. This is my first time drawing a sea sponge, so I'd say for a first attempt it's not bad, but if I were to do it again, I'd probably give it probably dedicate more time to it to make it look a bit better. But yeah, a decent first attempt, I'd say. So yeah, there's day 6. Day 7 now, we are now 1 week into the challenge, and the prompt was a brittle star, and I drew this common brittle star. Starfish I really enjoy drawing because you can add a lot of detail to them, and this particular species is one I have found quite a lot this year. Not so much in Dawlish Warren, but in many beaches around Plymouth and Torbay, Torquay especially. Yeah, a very nice species to find. I always love finding starfish. They're really, really cool animals. And this drawing I'm really happy with. Don't think I would make any improvements to it because you can clearly see it's a brittle star. Yeah, there's day 7. Okay, so for day 8, the prompt was a sea hare. I personally haven't found a sea hare before, so I had to look at a few pictures and some videos for reference, but overall I think it's come out pretty well. The shading maybe could have been a bit better, but overall I'm happy with it, seeing as I knew very little about this species or group of animals before drawing it. So maybe, hopefully, I end up finding one pretty soon. But yeah, overall happy with this drawing, and let's move on. For day 9, the prompt was a squat lobster, and here we have a spiny squat lobster. A little bit of a story time on this one. At the time of drawing this, I had not found a squat lobster, but merely hours after drawing this, I found my first squat lobster. So a few weeks ago on the channel, you may have seen a rock pooling video that featured an olive squat lobster, a different species. Yeah, just a few hours before finding that squat lobster, I drew this spiny squat lobster. But personally, I think the spiny squat lobster was better to draw because it's a lot more colourful than the olive squat lobster, and I've tried to replicate that in this drawing with the red eyes and antenna, the nice blue patterns running along its back, and then the squat lobster itself being a sort of orangey colour. But yeah, actually really happy with this drawing. I think it looks pretty good. So yeah, day 9. The prompt for day 10 was a Chaitan, and I ended up drawing this grey Chaitan. Now you may be thinking that doesn't look grey at all, and I wouldn't blame you for thinking that, honestly, but from finding a few Chaitans while rock pooling and from looking at some pictures for a reference, grey Chaitans are very rarely grey. They can be loads and loads of different colours, which I find quite fascinating actually. So yeah, wanted to draw kind of a cool coloured one. We got the brown and the pink and the purple. Looks very, very nice. Pretty happy with this one. Pretty easy to tell what it is, and there we go. Moving on to day 11 now, and the prompt was kelp, so I drew some sugar kelp. This one again is probably one I would do again given the opportunity. I think overall the shape of like the kelp strands and the colours I've nailed pretty well, but I would say it is lacking some detail, which given more time I probably would have been able to add. But overall I'm fairly happy with it, so yeah. Moving on to day 12 now, and the prompt was a cuttlefish, and this drawing is probably my favourite of the lot, and it's probably the one that you will have seen on the thumbnail. Really, really happy with how this one came out. I'm really pleased with all the colours, the shape of everything. It's probably one of the drawings I put the most time into, and I think it shows really happy with this one. Don't have any faults with it at all. And yeah, as I said, probably my favourite drawing out of this whole book. Moving on to day 13, and the prompt was an amphipod. So I drew this sandhopper. Very common species on the shore. I typically see them nearly every time I go down to the beach, and this one in particular was based off of a drawing that I did for a university bit of coursework that we had to draw some specimens that we had found on a field course. So yeah, pretty that's what I based it off of. It's pretty similar to the original drawing, but yeah, a very common species on the shore, one I find quite a lot. Happy with the drawing, with the shape of everything and the colours and the shading. So yeah, pretty happy with this one overall. 2 weeks into the challenge, and the prompt was a sea squirt. So I drew this group of light bulb sea squirts. These are the only species of sea squirt that I have actually found, to my knowledge. Find them nearly every time I go down to Dawlish Warren. They're an incredible species to find. Really enjoy finding them. It's interesting to see how they look underwater and out of water. This drawing is of them underwater. They look a bit different when they're out of water. They all sort of like group up and they look like they're in one sort of like ball of mass. It's kind of weird. But yeah, overall really happy with this drawing. Not a great amount of detail that you can add to these guys because they are like transparent. So yeah, happy with this one, and let's move on. Day 15, and the prompt was a goby. Now I have typically found fish quite difficult to draw, and that may show from this drawing. I'm not too sure. Like, I'm sort of in the middle about this one. It's not good, but it's not bad at the same time. You can potentially see what it is without like seeing the writing there. If I cover that up, would you know what that is? I'm honestly not too sure. So I probably, given the chance, would do this one again. This one is of a rock goby, which I have found a couple of in the past. I found a few juvenile ones at Dawlish Warren, but yeah, sort of on the fence about this one. So yeah, let's just move on. For day 16, the prompt was a small-sized crab, so I went ahead and drew this European hermit crab, or common hermit crab, whatever you want to call it. Really happy with how this one came out. I think I've got all the colours right. I've added a good amount of detail, and on the whole, I just love finding this species while rock pooling. I love just watching them come out their shells, walking around the little rock pool that they live in. Yeah, so great species to find. A good drawing on the whole, I'd say. And yeah, let's just move on. For day 17, I went ahead and drew this Great Scallop, as the prompt was a bivalve. I haven't found many live specimens of this species. Normally I just find the shells, the empty shells washed up on the beach. I have a few in my collection and I've been able to ID them as a Great Scallop. I have found one live specimen. It was a little juvenile one. But the photos I took weren't actually that great for drawing, if that makes sense. But overall, really happy with this one. Again, I think it's another one of my better ones in this. I really like how I've got the shape right, and I really like the shading that I've done on this one. So yeah, another good one, and let's just move on. For day 18, the prompt was a limpet. Now, initially I was going to draw just like a common limpet that you find a lot of on the shore, or maybe a slipper limpet, which we get a lot of in Dawlish Warren. But I eventually went for a blue-rayed, well, a few blue-rayed limpets, which I had found for the first time ever only a few weeks ago. Overall, I'm fairly happy with this drawing. I did think that maybe if I just drawn a single blue-rayed limpet and then just drawn that in a lot of detail, that may have been better. But I wanted to capture the fact that when you find blue-rayed limpets, you find a lot of them grouped up together, and I think I've done that fairly well. And I've just got them living on a bit of sugar kelp, which is how I found the blue-rayed limpets that I found. They were just living on pieces of sugar kelp in the rock pool. So yeah, pretty cool species. I love the colours of them, but yeah, maybe I could have done this better, maybe not, but yeah, let's just move on. For day 19, the prompt was a worm, so I went ahead and drew this ragworm. Now, I have found this ragworm while rock pooling before, but another reason I drew this species is because recently in Plymouth I have been fishing with a lot of my friends, and I've discovered I'm not good at fishing at all. But yeah, overall a very good drawing. I'm very happy with it. I think if I was to do this again, I'd maybe change up some of the colours. I think it's a bit bright for what a ragworm actually is. But if you have seen a ragworm before, it does look fairly similar, like colour-wise, to this drawing here. So overall, I'm very happy with it. I'm happy with the shape and everything. So yeah, pretty good drawing overall. Day 20's prompt was green seaweed, so I went for sea lettuce. Now, in Dawlish Warren, during the summer, the rocks are absolutely dominated by sea lettuce. Literally everywhere you go, you will find sea lettuce on the Dawlish Warren rocks in the summer, and it's not ideal because it's very slippery, but yeah, it's honestly great to see so much seaweed, because it's very important for the biodiversity and the ecosystem. So yeah, I wanted to encapsulate that in a drawing, so I decided to go for the sea lettuce. I'm very happy with this drawing. I like the colours I've used and the shape is fairly good. So yeah, another good drawing overall. Day 21's prompt was an invasive species, and when I saw the prompt, only one species came to mind, and that was a Pacific oyster. I've done some work on this species for some university coursework, as I touched on a little bit earlier, and yeah, it's honestly one of the most well-known invasive species on our coastline. And in terms of the drawing, I'm pretty happy with it. I think I've got the shape right, and the colour right. Maybe could have added a bit more detail here and there, but yeah, overall pretty happy with this one as well. Day 22's prompt was barnacle, so I drew this group of acorn barnacles. Now, wherever you are on the shore, you are most likely to find some sort of barnacle. There are a lot of species that we get, but I've encountered acorn barnacles more often than any other, and I'm really happy with this drawing. I love watching videos of barnacles feeding, which is what this one is doing here, so I definitely wanted to include that in, and I think I've done that pretty well. I love the shape of all of them. I think I've done that really well. I love the colours of all of them. So yeah, another good drawing on the whole. Day 23's prompt was a seabird, so I drew this cormorant. Really happy with how this one came out. Again, it's another one of the better drawings in this sketch pad. Whenever I'm out at Dawlish Warren, I can always see some cormorants in the distance. They all sort of huddle up on this one rock that's just above the water. It's actually pretty funny. I'll try and get some pictures of them for a future video, because it is kind of cool to see them. But yeah, again, really happy with this drawing. A nice lot of detail added, especially on the wings. I think I've got the colours right. They are particularly this colour if you see them up close. So yeah, another great drawing. The prompt for day 24 was a fish. Now, there was a lot of different species that I could have gone for here, but I decided to go with one of the most common fish on our coastline, and one I find without fail, a shanny. I honestly love watching these guys like zoom around the rock pool. They're very fast, very energetic, and they have some very unique qualities, such as being able to survive out of water for a long period of time. I'll lift a rock up that isn't submerged in water and I'll find a shanny there. It's just great to see, and I think this drawing's pretty good. Possibly could have done again. Maybe could have added some different colours. Some of them can be pretty colourful, and yeah, colours are just variable in general, but I think I've got the overall shape pretty good. The colours are pretty good as well, so yeah, maybe could have improved it, but yeah, overall a fairly good one. Now, the prompt for day 25 was a squid, and up until only a few weeks ago I hadn't found one until I found this little European common squid only a few weeks ago in a rock pool. You may have seen the video I put up in my channel. If not, definitely check it out, because there's some really good footage of it there. And I basically just took a screenshot of the video of the squid and just drew it, and I think it's come out really well. I've got the colours pretty much nailed to a T. Overall shape of it is good, there's a good amount of detail, and yeah, just another good drawing, I'd say. Day 26's prompt was a starfish, so I decided to draw a common starfish. Obviously, as the name suggests, one of the most common species we get on our coastlines, one I find quite often. Haven't found one in a while at Dawlish Warren, actually. I don't know if it's because it's getting a lot colder and the weather's getting worse at this time of year, but it's been a good few months since I've found one at Dawlish Warren, which is unfortunate. But yeah, really happy with how this drawing came out again. I've got a good amount of detail, as I mentioned with the Brittle Star. Starfish in general, when you draw them, you can add a great amount of detail, and I think I've done that here. I like the colours, I've picked the colours well, I'd say, and yeah, another good drawing. The prompt for day 27 was a shark. Now, unfortunately, I have not found a shark this year. As I mentioned before, sharks are my favourite types of animals, so it would have been great to find one this year, but I did find a small spotted cat shark in a rock pool last year. It was honestly amazing to see one, to be up so close, to be so close to it, just watch it swimming around the rock pool. It was amazing to see. One of the best, well no, it is the best rock pooling find to date that I have, well, it's the best creature that I have found to date, which is, it was just amazing. But yeah, drawing of it here, it's fairly good, I'd say. I've got the shape of it right, you can see what it is, but maybe I could have added a bit more detail here and there. Maybe the shading could have been a bit better, but on the whole, a fairly good drawing, I'd say. Day 28's prompt was a nudibranch, so I ended up drawing this grey sea slug. I don't typically find that many nudibranchs, but this grey sea slug I've only found once, and I think it was at Tor Bay. I think Tor Bay, you tend to find a lot of nudibranch, so if you want to find different species of nudibranch, I'd say go to Tor Bay. A few beaches in Torquay and Paignton, I'd say, are good for finding nudibranchs. But on the whole, a good drawing. I like the shape of it. I think I've nailed that pretty well. The colours maybe could have been a bit better. I could have spent a bit more time on the colour and maybe a bit more time on the detail, but overall you can see what it is, and yeah. Day 29's prompt was a sea urchin, so I drew this green sea urchin. Pretty much the only species of sea urchin that I found. Fairly common in Dawlish Warren, and I found quite a few in Plymouth actually, so I'd say it's fairly common in Plymouth as well. On the whole, a good drawing. I think if I was to do this again, I'd probably redo the colour of the spines, because the tip of them are purple, as you can maybe tell. I think personally it's a bit hard to tell that it's purple, and the tube feet, I think in reality they're a bit of a lighter purple, so I probably would have changed the colour of them to a lighter purple. But on the whole, a good drawing, and you can see what it is, and yeah. Coming up to the last couple of days now, day 30, the prompt was a jellyfish, so I drew this Compass Jellyfish. Over the summer in Dawlish Warren and other places in Devon and Cornwall, there's been always a lot of jellyfish washing up in the warmer months, and I found a couple of species at Dawlish Warren, the blue jellyfish, which you may have seen in a video of mine, and then the Compass Jellyfish, which I have found a couple of times. I decided to draw the Compass Jellyfish, and I'm really happy with how this drawing came out. I think I've got the colours spot on, the shape of everything is really good. I think there's only so much detail you can add with a jellyfish, but I think overall it's a really good drawing, and again, one of the better ones in this book. And here is the final drawing of Rockpoolaroid 2021, day 31. The prompt was favourite species, and I had to go with the velvet swimming crab. It's one I find very often, and that is why it's become my favourite species. I find them so often, they just show so much character, even when it may be aggressive. But yeah, they're just a really interesting species to just sit and watch. Quite colourful. They've got like a greeny brown, like body with some blue and some pinky and some purple bits on the claws and stuff, which I think I've captured pretty well. Maybe could have done a bit better on it if I had spent some more time. Maybe could have added more bits of detail here and there, but honestly, you can see what it is. I think the overall shape of it is pretty good. Yeah, there we go. That concludes my Rockpoolaroid drawings for 2021. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Again, it's a little bit different to what I normally do, but with winter and more bad weather coming, it's honestly going to be a lot harder to make rock pooling videos, unfortunately. So I hope you guys don't mind these types of videos every once in a while. A huge thank you to Marinemumbles for organising and hosting this challenge this year, and hopefully she'll be bringing the challenge back next year, because honestly it was so much fun. I enjoyed every second of it, and I'd like to compare this year's to next year's to see how much I've improved. So that is the end of the video for today. I do hope you all enjoyed. Remember to leave a like if you did, and remember to subscribe. We are very close to 400 subscribers, so if you are new around here and enjoy my videos, please do subscribe. It greatly helps me out. So yeah, that's everything for now. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video.